Hello everyone, my name is Zoltan Nemeth. I am a second year student at DIT. This program is basically made for Java assignment one. This program purpose is helping for solar PV installers to make the site surveys and the solar PV design more accurately and try or least reduce the possible human errors which can occur, since there is a lot of calculations and details what a technician have to be keep an eye on it. There is a really high risk of human error will happen. So I just wrote a program. A demo program will do three basic functions. It allowed the user to do a calculation of the roof area. It allowed the user to set the panels details, the PV panels details, and store in the database. And then the program take those two details from the database and calculate how many PV panels can be fit on that typical roof. Let's say if a shopping center have a 100 meter square roof area and one panel is 1 meter square, then it tells the user exactly how many PV panels can fit on that PV roof until we still comply with the current regulations, building regulations. I mean, so this is a control class. This is a public interface which is instantiate the GUI. It's public, but behind once we start the program, behind the GUI everything is private, which means everything is encapsulated. So the data and the communication between class and class or class and database cannot be seen by others. I mean, hackers can access those details very harder than without encryption. So there is a small description about what the program does, what's the purpose of the program, what's the main functions of the program. I'll just close this. So what's the it was better actually. Okay, so the all details about the program is here. So I just run the program now. See control 1. A GUI version is coming up. Here, run a full size survey is not available in the demo version. So when a user click on it, they getting a warning message which says this function is not available in the demo version. Select menu between 2 to 4, which is calc roof area, at panel details, and calc solar PV area. What it was the ID. Also, when a user not really knew about how to manage the program for human-computer interaction purposes, I put a have button here, which is active. So when a user click on it, there is some instructions how to close the program and what's the menus, functions, and what's behind. So what's the function of the run full size survey, what it does, basically, just in plain English. So I just close it. Okay, so run the first program, which is a calculate available roof area. So when a user click on it, on the top is it says that this is a roof area calculation, step 2 out of the 5. The user can enter the roof width, which let's say in this case 12 meter, and the height is let's say 4 meter. There is a labels I was putting labels to the user, make sure they know what they have to. So it's not centimeter, it's meter. If the user enter centimeter, then the values will be not that accurate, but it's just a demo version. So when the two data, the width and the height, is received, the user have to enter the or click the show me and save. So when a show me and save is clicked, the program automatically do the connection to the remote database, store the details, and then return back to what is the calculation of the total area is, let's say 48, in this case is 48 meters square, the user area is 15 meters square. And the nice thing, I put a few error checking there, so when a user just enter the fields first time and just hit enter, it notify the user that now you have to fill the roof length as well. So filling the width, press enter, fill the roof length as well, and then we fill the roof length or height whatsoever. So the user getting much notice as possible in order that they can use the program. Each program or each menu is allow the user to go forward, do the calculation obviously, go forward to the next menu or return to the main menu. So now I'm just going to the next menu, which is add PV modules details, because there is more than 200 manufacturers who are doing solar PVs, and each one is close, or each one is similar, but the details like the width, the height, the thickness, the power output is always different. So I decide to allow the user to enter that typical, let's say if they want to use an RG, then they can set that is an RG panel, not a solar word, so they knew exactly what panel was measured with the roof. So let's say it's asking, it's telling on the top that adding new PV panels details to the database, step 3 out of the 4, the previous was a step 2 out of the 5. So enter a PV panel brand here. Let's say in this case we enter solar word. I put labels also, just make sure that the user can handle the program easier. Enter the PV panel version here, let's say is ABC1. Enter the panel width is usually 1 meter, so I just enter 1 meter, and usually 1.65 meter. So in this case I enter 1.65, just make sure. And then let's say the power output is 250 watts per panel. So the user now can decide to return to the main menu or do the calculation and save. Obviously when they click on the calculation, I decide to make it do two things together. So when this button is pressed, the calculation is executed and also the details are automatically saved. So in this case, we know that PV panel area is 1.65 meter. But if we go to the database in the PV panels, I can see that one entry is just one row is just failed. It's a solar word ABC1. The version is ABC1. The width is 1 meter. The height is 1.65. The output is 250, and the panel area is 2 because it's just rounded up. However, for a calculation, it will be accurate. And yeah, that's the details what we entered. So now run the PV array calculation, which is a step, the step 4 out of the 5. This not allow the user to enter details, so therefore the text box is the writing ability is set to false, because what I want is when the user entered the roof details, entered in a second menu, enter the PV panel details. So what we want is get from database both the usable roof area, the PV area, and calculate it. I had a little issue with this, and I'll show you in a minute. So click show me. In the Eclipse, it shows the usable area of the total roof is 50 meters square, what we entered earlier on. Also, it lists the values from both the roof database table and from the PV database table. So it's list and name each of them what is what, and so it's showing the usable roof area and showing the PV panel meter square requirements. And then the real issue is with the comparison. I think I take strings instead integers, and that's why it's not dividing the roof width or the roof area with the pass. Instead it's just adding together. So I try to fix that, but anyway I'm just run out from the time, so I have to just roll it up. Okay, so let's see the code. The control, the Java class is just instantiate the GUI. It doesn't do anything else, just instantiate the GUI, run the GUI, and hold the description of the program. The GUI doing the fancy stuff, right to the main menu. The GUI doing this fancy stuff here, which is import Java class with what I need, action listener and mouse listener. Declare a variable for the graphic interface. Assign a listener which handle the clicks on the buttons and the behaviors behind them. I declare in a constructor which is handle the GUI. It set the frame size, set the panels, how it should lay out. The layout is I think the layout is flow layout, yeah. And instantiate the menus, adding the buttons to the panel, which is those panels. So assign listeners to each buttons, and register the mouse listener. Everything is, I was trying to comment everything. So once the main is end, I just put in end main. implements the action listener. So when a user press menu 1, which is always from the code, so menu 1, it giving a warning message in a new window. It says it's not available in the demo version. However, when the user enter the menu 2, which is a available roof area, there is a comment as well, and it's print out for administration purposes or for debugging just the system out print line, and hide the main menu frame and bring the new menu. Let's see here. So it's just bring the new menu. I'll just close this here. Okay, and just call the car crew area in a new screen, basically. The same story happened with menu 3 when a different menu is called. Menu 4 exactly, and menu 5 exactly the same. Just when the user click on menu 4, it hide the current frame, the main frame, and call the calc PV area class. So, and this is menu 5 is for the hub button what I show you here. This is a hub button. When a user click here, the alt text is declared on the class inside. I was decided to implement the mouse listeners and the mouse listeners and the action listeners in each class individually. So I think it's make more easier to if something needs to be changed, everything is local. I mean, the mouse listener action listener is declared in the local class. For example, for the GUI behaviors is located in the GUI. The calculation of available roof area is behaviors is in the what's the in a calc roof area class. So go ahead, and so this is a calc roof area class. The same story. Import packages for the buttons, frames, labels, flow layout. Also in this case, in this class, I was import a connection to the SQL database, driver manager which handled the SQL manager driver, and SQL exception because if something goes wrong, it have to be catched. So I declared the buttons, the labels, and the text field. I tried to show nice here. So come on, I don't need this. So it's declared the buttons here, the labels which help the user to navigate, and the text fields here, the two text fields which is editable, and these two which is not editable because once the width and the height is entered, the program calculate the rest. So I don't want the user to mess with it, and so it just makes the program easier as well for the user. So I set a calc roof area frame for 360 by 300. I name it, just make sure that it's easier to identify. Register the labels here, register the calc button. I was take it a little bit. I just made some spaces because it was more readable for me, more it was better looking for me, and identify like grouping. This is what the user have to do, and this is what which do something different without the user interaction, just the user press and it's do the calculation behind the screens. So I registered the text box and the user inputs, prevent the user to edit those fields I mentioned, the total area and the usable area. I add labels to the J frame. Adding the return menu, the calculation menu is added to the J-frame, and the next obviously. So return, calculation, and next. I assign listeners for the user for those objects where the user have to interact. Let's say input 1, input 2 is where the user enter the text, the main menu where the user going back, the next where the user going forward, and the calc when the user is do the calculation or instruct the program to do the calculation. So register the mouse listeners because it have to be react with the user when he clicks. Let's say click on the button over here, just not in the text or in the button, and giving warning message that enter the details in a text field or press any button. So just a warning, basic warning message. I initialize the database connection, which is here with the for the driver. I take it separate. So this is after the main, after the class, and before the behavior, just because it's I just try to make the program easy to readable, and connection to the database, or the way how the class have to be load the driver is not really part of the behavior, so I just put in between the two. So it's the actual listener starting here. It's setting the local variable for the holding the data, and also for converted, because I take the input as a string, and if the user input 1, it's the first text box, and input 2 is the second text box. It's taking as a string, and because it could be float, could be integer, was find it easier to take as a string, convert it to float, do the calculation with the float, in this case multiply width by the length, put in a temp value, which is C. I think I should rename it for temp, and this is for the and display the output total roof area as a C. So it's just using the C variable. It should be temp or something like that. So the C is display here, and the D is the usable area, which is the D is not really meaningful, but it could be for a programmer can be understandable that the D is a output usable area text field, which is put back the calculation values to the GUI when it's converted and multiply together to get us the middle square. Uh, then when the details are calculated, or the width and the length is multiplied, then I initialize the connection to the database. So it's called connection. Define a credential for the database. It's the host name where the database is, the username who can access it, and the password. In this case, I'm not using password because it just make the things more complex. So for testing purposes, it's perfect. It's connected to the database using the driver manager, accessing the calc roof area, accessing the roof table, and within the roof table it's accessing the width, length, total roof area, usable area, and also with the values I was using a question marks, because the values in this case it could be anything, and I mean anything is basically when the table is set for null, it would give an error, but if it's defined with a question mark, then if the user not enter something, or the program still not get crashed. So however, if the user enter everything correctly, like two data, I think it's not too hard to enter two data, then it just place everything in the database, the width, length, the C and the D, which is the total area and the usable area. And this statement is just execute a query I was forgetting in the beginning, and it doesn't want to have it at the table, and then I just Google it out and find out that I forgot this little sentence, so it's very important. Anyway, system out print line for database connection established. I was put this in. It's not necessary for the final program, but I just put this in, just make sure that I see if something goes wrong, so I can identify where the problem is occur if something is not working, that the database connection is not established. And also for a roof area data saved, so when it's saved everything went well, then I just print it out. And if some SQL exception is caused, use the catch SQL exception E to catch any errors. And again, the behaviors for the main menu, the command is here, return to the main menu button behavior. When the user enter or press the menu button, the return the menu button, it sets the current the roof area calculation window invisible, and open the GUI in a new frame. And the same story is with the next one, the user going forward, and the same story when the user not do anything, or a similar story, sorry, user not doing anything, it says enter the details or press any button. Okay, yeah, I think just go forward. The third menu is when a user can enter the PV details to the database. In this case, I just try to make okay, anyway, in this case, in the add panel details to database, In this case, I imported several classes, including the JBottom, JFrame, JLabel, connection for the database, driver manager, SQL extensions, etc., etc. In this class, I also implement an action listener and mouse listener, same with calculate roof area, because it have to be interact with the user and have to be warn the user if the user not interact with the program or not interact as it should be. Let's say not enter details in some fields or just clicking somewhere else instead the text fields or the bottom. So I declare a bottoms, which is private. Everything is private basically, because it's giving an encapsulation for the program. I declare the labels, the text field for the user input, and then I add the panel details and behaviors for the program. Also a heading which is identify the program on the top, that this is a stat 3 out of the 5. Register the labels. I knew it's a little bit more complex than the previous one, so there is a lot of more details. I was trying to giving a useful names for each variable and each label, and for each object. So I didn't comment everything. I just comment the groups, and I take the groups. So that's the this group is registering the label, and this is registering for the text box, and this is prevent user to edit a field where he shouldn't do anything, because the program once finish return back the PV panel area automatically to this text box. So it's fast now, and it should be fast. Add labels and add the labels. The labels is always the first, then the buttons, and then just a brand example. So the labels, the object, and another label basically, which is giving a user a group idea what they have to type there. In this case, RG is a brand of the panel, SC123 AB is the version, the width is 1 meter, the height is 1.6 meter, and the output is 300 watts. So just giving more have for the user to be able to interact with the program. Adding the return menu as usual, the calculation, and the forward, which is called the next. It's called the next. I always call it the next. Anyway, assign the action listener for each object where the user is interact with it. Register the mouse listener locally again, and set the visibility of the frame, basically the GUI for true, so it's display the frame. Initialize the database connection as usual, and action listener is starting here. So set some local variable, which is perhaps for me, or it's basically for the program to do a local calculation, which is not belong to the main class. It just belong to the action listener. So in this case, I don't need to pass anything, make extra variables. Everything is due locally where it have to be due. So I hope it improves the performance of the program as well. So taking the PV panel brand, that's the first. Try to open here. Yeah, taking the panel brand. If the user entered the brand, it printed the brand in the console window. If the user hit enter after the, let's say, G is pressed, it says now fill the panel version text box. So notify the user in each step what they have to do if they confuse. For example, they're using first time. Panel version is the behavior for the second user input. It could be see here. The panel width, panel height, panel output, and the calculation. The calculation is basically just taking the brand input, the version input, the width, height, and power. And in this case, I convert the PV width from string to float. Same with the length and same with the power, because I want display and store in the database as a float, as a number. So in this case, I multiply width with length, and I couldn't multiply string by string, but I could multiply float by float, so it makes everything a lot easier. I converted the width and the height from string to float, and multiply them together and store in a temporary variable, which in this case PV panel area. And this is a variable which is then displayed to the PV panel area is where the user cannot enter or cannot edit edit the field. So in this case, let's say it's ABBB or ABBB, doesn't matter. 1, let's say it's 2.5, let's say it's 3.5, and show me the calculation. And see it display the solar PV area meter square is 2.5 meter square, and also display the PV panel area is 2.5 meter square, and then just run the PV area calculation program, which is a comparison of based on the of the roof area and the panel size. And the PV area is the comparison. Also import several packages which is needed to connect to the database and store and handle details. I don't want to repeat it again because it's almost identical to the previous two. So implements action listener, mouse listener, G buttons, labels, text fields, which is used locally here. I set the window size, register the labels, register the text boxes, prevent user to edit fields which will be automatically filled by the program once it has get executed. Adding labels to make sure it's visible. Assign action listeners with the 3 buttons. Here I have only 3 buttons where the user interact with. This is a main menu, the next, and a cog. So right into the main menu, cog, and next. Register the mouse listeners. Set up a true database connection driver loading. So each class, when it's using the database, connected to the database individually. So the database is not open from the beginning. The database is the database connection is established from the point where it's necessary to open it and do a connection, and close it as soon as possible when the work is done with the database. So there is no time. So there is not necessary to the program is just use the database when it has to use. Anyway, I couldn't explain it very well. Set action listeners for behaviors. So for the calculation, it connected the database. This is a point when the database have to be connected. Selecting, in this case, it's not reading the roof area and the alt panel details, is writing to the database, and this is reading from the database. So in this case, is connected to the database. Select from, because there's several tables, so select from the PV from the roof table and from the PV panels table, and from the roof table it's accessing the roof width, length, roof area, and usable area. And from the panel details is accessing the brand, the version, width, height, output, and area. I was trying to access only the field what I need to display. However, because there is let's say in this case is 1 2 3 4 5 6, yeah, six values, I had to access all of them, otherwise the program get confused. So I access the program, I access the database, read the details from the database. Let's see, PV panels here. I have brand, version, width, height, output, panel area. I taking those values and read them, and then I'm just using those details what I need to do for the calculation. In this case, from the roof usable area, and from the panel is a panel area. So just getting the two and just divide them and get the calculation of the quantity can be fit, or of the number of PV panels can be fit. The only thing is one with the divide, so I'm just using for plus and try to figure out, or ask Susan later on how to, why it's not dividing for me. I think I have to, it's now a string, so I think it have to be a float, but I'm really out of time and have to be assigned as soon as possible. So I don't have the time just complete this. And also here is a part for update. When this error is fixed, then it's updating the three fields: the usable roof area, the PV panel area, and the possible PV panel can fit to the user. But that's hide now because it has some errors. There is other action listeners, and it's for the main menu. and this is for a commission test. The commission test is visible from the program but not accessible, so when the user runs the commission test, it's not part of the demo version, because the demo version is just taking the roof area from the user, store it, calculate the usable area and the total roof area, taking the panel details, store it, and then compare the two and tell the user how many plans can be fit. This is the commission test, which required more details about the PV panels, the inverters, the cables, the length of the strings, which is it wasn't point to make it usable right now, because there is not enough information in the full program. It will have enough information to do an accurate a commission test, but now it just not it's not enough information, so I just decided to disable this. Basically, it's to in summary this so in summary, it run the calc available roof area at panels, allow the user to add panel details, and then take the two details individually, calculate them individually, store in a database, and then in a calc solar PV area compare the PV area with the roof area, so tell the user how many can we fit, and in a full program it will do the commission test, the strings, the inverters, the all electrician calculations, but the algorithm has to be designed for that, so that will be the full program. And I hope you enjoy my video. This is my first presentation. I'm not a person who will do a presentation every week, and I'm really shy as well, so I hope that you enjoy it, and if you have any question, I'm happy to answer, and thank you for your time to watching this. Thank you.